how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Where's the other, baby?
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome into a Red Out short clip here. This is from our latest episode. Hope you enjoy. Winners and losers. As Jared is so excited about, the Patriots won.
That's right, yep. Jared's really excited about that.
And
Tom Brady is the top of my list.
The top of the list.
Yes.
He's the devil.
Foosball's the devil.
I have seen so many memes with Tom Brady, it cracks me up. They're great. I'm sorry. They're just,
He's
He's the winner. He's the winner. He's the man.
yeah, he is. I mean, there's no arguing.
His offensive line is the man. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, but still. I mean, I saw him step up in the pocket like 6 or 7 times, and he's, 42 years old?
41.
Takes a little bit. Yeah,
think.
it takes a little bit of skill. Can't just put it all on Kansas City's defense.
No, I mean, well...
But
okay.
you can put it on their defensive coordinator who Tony Romo got fired.
Just so you know, I love all the memes with Bill Belichick as the new maintenance guy at whatever team they're playing the next week.
Yeah.
Greatest memes ever. But
I don't know what's happening to your headsets, boys.
my biggest gripe is the NFL's overtime rules. I think that's universal across everything. Their justification is they don't want the players to get too tired, which is BS. Okay, the real reason is that they're wasting their money because if, for instance, if team or game A goes over, it cuts into game B, and people get mad and they lose money. Granted, but when it's playoff time, we've gotta have a legitimate finish to a game. Instead of a team marching down the field and kicking a field goal.
Dude, I heard the best solution, or saw the best solution on Twitter.
Okay.
Jared Stillman, formerly of ESPN Louisville, who now has a show in Nashville, J-Bone, his solution was, what you do is each team chooses the yard line they would like the ball to go to, where they would start, right?
Okay.
But whoever's closest, whoever's in the better position, gets the ball second. So let's say that you put yourself on the 1 yard line.
Okay.
You do not get the ball first.
Obviously.
So the other people, if they beat you, get the ball first.
Okay.
And then they get the shot. And if you stop it, then you start on the one. And if you both pick, let's say the 1 yard line, then it goes to the coin flip.
I think that's ridiculous. But
I think it'd be wild.
I think that's ridiculous. But I mean,
I've read something about the overtime that probably people don't, the overreaction doesn't realize.
okay.
I saw a good stat on Twitter. Ross Tucker, NFL analyst. The overtime coin toss winning percentage between the two football sports. NFL, 52.7%. The person who wins the coin toss wins the game. College football, 54.9%.
Wow.
So regardless of perception, actually whoever wins the coin toss has a better chance to win in football. So I'll put a lot of that on. The Chiefs, you had a 3rd and long 3 times, and you let Brady just pick you apart on 3rd and long each time.
Yep.
I mean, you could have done what the Rams did against Breeze, and besides getting screwed over in regulation, they picked him off and won the game. That's all you had to do. So I don't have any sympathy for the Chiefs.
My thing is with the Rams. Granted, that's pass interference, but I don't necessarily see the helmet to helmet. Because he led with his hands, so I don't know if there was necessarily contact there as far as helmet-to-helmet contact goes.
I don't care. Don't get in that situation.
That would be the biggest loser, by the way.
Sorry, what'd you say, Jared?
I said it was, but it was like on the side of the helmet.
Yeah, but
Like the sides of the helmets hitting each other.
I think the greatest response is that the player, they did an interview with him after the game, and he's like, yeah, I did it. And it's like... Well, I mean, what are you going to do after the fact? But
Do you guys see where the Saints are going to, I saw a thing where some bars in New Orleans aren't going to play the Super Bowl. They're going to play a repeat of the Saints' victory at the Super Bowl. And I was like,
That is the biggest crybaby
I
thing
think
I've
Fletch
ever heard.
retweeted it as I was walking out of work.
That's
I
even
saw
more
it.
petty than something I would do, and that is very impressive.
That is
That
so
is
good.
very impressive.
I was like, the tweet was like, "Yeah, this is healthy, and I'm sure everyone's adjusting just fine."
I have
It's like
seen,
I agree with that tweet.
I have seen memes. There was a meme in Minnesota where a road crew put on their big sign across the road, "Cry Me a River, New Orleans," which is great. I love that.
Yeah, they hate them.
But the biggest loser is the refs because they just completely screwed the pot on this one. I don't know necessarily with the Patriots game.
Well, they called that roughing the passer that happened at one point. That was literally
Yes.
just like the defensive lineman like grazing his chest on accident.
Hey man, don't
And
step
that
up
was
to him. That's interference.
infuriating.
Yeah, that was. I now that you said that, I do remember that on the Patriots one. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
They need to fix that in the off season, or no one's going to watch the sport anymore. I'll stick with college.
I agree. I think it's getting to that point where people are just so frustrated they just don't know what to do.
But honestly, so everybody talked about how last season the ratings were so bad and it's because of the rules and nobody's watching. This year they did a rebound and it's one of the best years they've ever had. People are watching at record numbers. Like everybody talks a big game like they're not going to watch, but on Sunday afternoon people just turn that crap on.
I mean,
now to be fair, I'm not a huge consumer of the NFL.
I'm not either.
I'm just not.
I used to be when we played fantasy. That was the
Fantasy
one
was
time
the
I
thing
did,
that
but-
made me watch the NFL. That and the Niners being relevant.
Yeah, they're not relevant anymore.
No, they are not. Jimmy G popped that knee, and I was like, "No, Adonis, you pretty man." We suck again.
Yeah. We suck again.
Yep.
So, speaking of football, the new schedule was released.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. We're a little late.
It's basketball season. What do you want?
Yeah, we're excited about basketball.
I'm so excited about
Yay!
Ross,
Yay, Ross. So, just kind of recap the schedule. We've got Central Arkansas, FIU, Louisville, UAB, Old Dominion, Army, Charlotte, Marshall, Florida Atlantic, Arkansas, Southern Miss, and we finish up with MTSU.
As it should be.
Which I'm completely fine with. Before the show started, we asked how you get a purple bear. You choke a bear until they turn purple.
Yeah.
That's the man way to do it.
Or get a roundhouse kick from Chuck Norris.
Exactly.
But none of us can do that because we're not Chuck Norris.
No, God no.
Devin, God, no.
There is a bear that lives in Chuck Norris's house. It is not dead. It's just scared to move. Greatest joke ever. So Jared, since you wrote a piece covering this in the Tower Rack, what are your thoughts as far as the schedule goes?
It's definitely not the best draw that they could get in kind of what's going to be a rebuilding year with new head coach and implementing a new offensive system. They have some good games, like at Arkansas. Arkansas had a very subpar year last year, but if they can go back to what they're supposed to be as an SEC school, they're supposed to be SEC as always. But we'll see what they do next year. Of course, the neutral game in Nissan Stadium in Nashville against Louisville, like Satterley, seeing what he's going to do with Louisville. That's very up in the air to see what that's going to look like for next year. I still think it's a winnable game for us. I hope so, but just looking at everything in general, I would say the basement would be at least 4 wins, which you would want more than that. I would like the habitable zone is what I called it in the article, is like from 5 to 7 and 7 to 5 is what I think is very feasible for this team to get. Anything more than that would be very surprising to me. Obviously I would love it, but I just don't really see it happen. I think if they can get back to being bowl eligible, I think that'd be a really good feat to have. But even if they went 1-3 in the non-conference and 4-4 in conference play, that's 5 and 7. That's not too bad. I could live with that if it happens. But 5 to 7 to 7 and 5 is what I would say for next year.
Okay, so you're 5 and 7, 7 to 5. What do you say we are after the first 6 games?
After the first 6, I would probably, I might say 3 and 3 at best. Probably 2 and 4.
Okay, I'll go for that. So you're obviously saying that Central Arkansas is probably a win.
God, I hope so.
Well, after last year, I don't think any FCS school that we play is the guaranteed win anymore. But you would assume that would get fixed and that we would win that.
Yeah,
Burn it down.
Yeah, I feel like the first 3 games were at least 1 and 3.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Well, here's
4
my
games.
thing.
Yeah, I can't count.
UAB lost about 25 seniors off last year's team.
Wow.
They are probably our swing game of that first six. You look at the first six. You've got Central Arkansas should be winning at FIU, who won I think 10 games last year. Returns probably the best quarterback in the league. That's going to be a really tough game in Miami. Early season, their fans might actually care. So that's a probable loss. Louisville they're still a Power 5 school, and until, after we choked it down against our worst team in 20 years last year, I would say that and the Old Dominion games are the real key if we want to have a bowl-eligible season. Early, anyway.
As usual, I completely agree. I think FIU in September is going to be hot. It's going to be hot as what. And I think that's going to be a factor as far as playing because the guys are not going to be ready for that kind of heat.
Dude, I hate Miami.
I do too. FIU is kind of the exception because FIU, they have great Cuban music playing for pregame, which is hilarious.
Do the dancers do like the Victor Cruz?
I never get to see them. I never got to see
right,
them because all I could do was hear them. But it was great.
I'm now just imagining, like, in part of their warm-ups, they're doing, like, choreographed, like, salsa dancing.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Salsa dancing down through there.
Then just, like, kind of sort of salsa
I went
dance
to
in his chair.
the 2015 game there at FIU, and, when you think of Miami and, South Beach, this is the complete opposite of what you think. It's by the airport. It's literally just, it's a giant commuter school. There's some palm trees around the campus, but it's basic city for the whole thing.
That's
it's like, how did this school get a Division I football team? I don't know.
Well, it's wild because that's what I was saying when I did like my article about like looking at the school. They have a crap ton of students, but only like 6% of them live on or around campus, like in campus-sponsored housing, and it seriously looks like they took a bunch of just block, terrible old like hotels and turned them into buildings, and then put a bunch of parking structures up. And it's like, man, this is just an absolute, like, trash hole of a place. Like, why is this? This is Miami, man. What are you guys doing? It's like, oh, you're actually in Miami, and you don't actually represent Miami. Got it.
Yeah, but it's more like the register side of Miami. If I had to put it into a
registry,
like the registry at Western, because it's
sketch.
It's by the airport. It's not glamorous. Yeah, it's
by the airport. It's like a Sheraton, dive bar, and then FIU.
And another game I kind of want to touch on just real quick, the Army game. First off, I know with Navy, those dudes are just bosses. They practice.
Army's what Navy was 3 years ago.
Yeah, they kind of switch roles now.
So Army, typically when we played Navy, Navy's practice was from like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Then they went and did PT. I'm like, dude, these guys are boss.
Well, that's one of the reasons that they used to not be able to get great players is because not only are you doing football, but you're also doing all of the other West Pointy crap that you have to deal with. And no South Florida athletes want to go deal with that. Like, why would you do that and PT and have to walk the line and maintain a GPA? Like, that's just, and, be in the middle. Like, that's all dumb.
I agree. Now, looking at the second half of the season, Charlotte, Marshall, Florida Atlantic, Arkansas, Southern Miss, and MTSU. The biggest game I worry about is Arkansas because they're supposed to be SEC, but I don't know if necessarily they're going to live up to their hype.
You're not worried about the Fighting Lane Kiffins?
The Lane Kiffins are. They would probably be Tier 2, but Arkansas is kind of God tier.
Everybody, too, in my opinion. And they lost both their running backs. He's got a rebuilding situation. We'll see how many transfers he brings in. I would say, if I had from ranking this, I would say if you wanted to rank the hardest, Arkansas, Marshall, and Southern Miss, and then the other three on the schedule. So
Arkansas. Now
Marshall.
Go for Marshall. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was just catching up.
All the road games.
Yes.
Middle loses Brent Stockstill, so we'll see if Rick finally gets fired after this year. They've lost 5 games minimum with a probably once in a generation quarterback, which still cracks me up.
Which is really funny though is that so Florida Atlantic's players graduated or do they get parole?
Yes.
I think 2 of them went to the NFL, but yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Kiffin's convicts, just for those who are a little slower like me. But yeah, I completely agree with you, Jared. I think a 7-5, a 5-7 to a 7-5 is very plausible for this team. It's kind of a stretch, but I think some of these games are very winnable. With Florida Atlantic being a rebuilding year for them as well, I think Arkansas could be a game that we go down there and steal it, depending on how everybody's clicking at that point in the year. And I'd love to smash the Mutts. I just hate the straight biddies as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to go ahead and transition just real quick. And I hate this because we haven't talked about them at all this year, but the Lady Tops. They're on a 6-game winning streak. Have you all even noticed this?
Yeah, they've come out hot in conference play. Having that tougher non-conference has really helped them a lot.
Oh my gosh, they're tied. Well, okay. What I saw earlier was they were tied for first in Conference USA. Now they're second, according to my little ESPN app here. Excuse me. But they started out playing Union. That's Tennessee Bulldogs, beating them by 8. 77-65. Charlotte 76-58, which that defense has got to be killer. ODU, Marshall, FIU, and FAU all fell to the tops. So what do you all think about the ladies so far this year?
It's definitely a lot bigger improvement from what was happening in the non-conference. They were losing a lot of games that were pretty tough. Granted, they had Louisville, they had Notre Dame, they had a lot of really tough teams. But I think that pays off, and it's showing at this point. They finally kind of got to where they need to be at, and at least I hope they keep the momentum going. I think they can, but we'll see. It's definitely a good start.
I think this is a definite. Tournament team this year. I think they could actually pull it out and go to the tournament. I don't know how far they'll make it.
We always seem to get hosed in the first round.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. We just seem to draw people.
We always get the 16, 15 seed, and it's really?
Well, I can't remember when they went last time. I can't remember who they. I want to say it was Oklahoma State they played. Who was it they played last?
It was Oregon State.
Oregon State. I know it was an O State.
The Lady Beavers, yeah.
Lady Beavers. That's right.
The other OSU that is also orange.
Yeah.
It's just like what was that, Valparaiso?
Valpo. Valpo's good.
I think it looked like they had a little bit between schedule and coaching transition, a little bit of a learning period, and then now that they go to the friendly confines of Conference USA, they're taking off. They got 2 Egyptian ladies who are just killing it. Obviously, what's her El Degway, or how do you pronounce it? Raneem. Who was
I was just going to stick with the
year.
first name because Raneem's easier.
6'4", and then they've got another one I'm not even going to try to pronounce, from Cairo. She's a guard, and they're killing it, man. It's good to see, and I guess Matt McKay, the Lady Tops expert, will be screaming and doing our Twitter on the towel rack for that. So
yes, he will
just
probably
keep it
be
rolling.
He'll probably be screaming at us because we're messing their names up.
Because we can't pronounce their names. No, early season, everybody was like, "Oh, do we make a mistake? It's Greg Collins." Good. It's like, listen, y'all look at this schedule, and it's a coaching change. Can everybody calm down now?
That's
everybody happy now? Everybody happy with Mr. Collins?
Okay, so there are 3 names I cannot pronounce on this team.
The 2 from Egypt and the 1 from Senegal.
Senegal was the one. Where's the other Egyptian? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Miral? Is that right?
Meryl.
Miral.
Like the Pokemon.
And Myra, I don't even. Nudel Haywed. Oh, that's from Illinois. Sorry, girl.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and then
from Edwardsville, Illinois.
Sorry, yeah.
Her last name is her last name is Nudel Haywood. That's not that big.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
She might as well be from Scottsdale.
Okay. Yes.
Woo,
exactly.
Scotts Vegas.
Yes. Why can't everybody be named like the girl from Harvest, Alabama, Terry Smith? I can pronounce that. Now, I probably did not, and I'm sorry, girls. But y'all are doing awesome.
They're playing better than men are.
Yeah. Everybody likes to go for the winners. Go for the Lady Tops. Show up for those girls. I have no idea what that was.
Just random noises, loud noises.
Yes, I have a random Facebook thing. But I think some teams to look out for Western, they have to play MTSU. I had that pulled up. Let's see.
Devin has lost his.
No, I didn't put dates on my notes. The last game of the year they played the Mutts.
Yeah.
And that is at home.
As it should be.
So they got to go straight biddies and beat them. Then we got Rice. Oh, actually, we actually play the Mutts at Murfreesboro on Valentine's Day. Sorry. And then we got them last game of the year.
What a disappointing day to be in Murfreesboro. Like, that's such a disappointing Valentine's Day. Like, you have to go straight biddies. Like, come on.
Yep, straight
That's
biddies.
awful.
But it would be great biddies if they beat them. So
On Valentine's Day,
yes.
that's true.
And then we got Rice, who's actually 5-0. And then you got UAB.
The Rice is real good.
Yes. Rice's women, we play them on the 7th of February. That looks like the only one. And then UAB, we got them on the 16th. So it's all good. Okay, sorry. Just making sure we're still connected to all the guys.
Make sure we got everybody.
Yes.
Because it's just crickets. Like,
yeah, there was just like no sound, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, did I lose everybody?
You good?
No, okay. But I think the rest of their season looks pretty good. I think listeners, if you would just show up for them, hey, if there's a double, stay for the ladies. Show up a little early, go up for the ladies. I really appreciate your support.
They're the more consistent team right now.
Oh my God. Hope you enjoyed the clip from our latest episode. Subscribe for our weekly Red Out podcast. And always remember, go Tops.